that I am apparently ethnically ambiguous. I have been identified as part Chinese, part Filipina, part Native American, or just fully white. For the record, I am mixed race Chinese American and also part Italian. I can't forget about my dad's side of the family. My mom was born and raised in America, and her parents immigrated to California from what is commonly known here as Canton in China. My mom has always cared a lot about diversity, and for much of my life, I didn't fully understand why. I remember when I was choosing colleges, my mom wanted me to check the diversity percentages, hoping I'd go somewhere with more people who were like me. When I came to AU, there were two important lessons I learned and am still learning. The first is the importance of understanding the differences of other people's experiences. And the second is the importance of unity. One of the most impactful classes my freshman year was American Ethnic Literature. The goal of the course was to present us with glimpses into the different experiences of Americans from a variety of minority groups. I learned about experiences that I never knew people had lived through. For example, the challenges of being an Arab American after the events of 9/11, or the disjointed experience of being a Native American caught between modern American culture and the culture of one's tribe. I even had the opportunity to read a book of my choice about an interracial Chinese American family, somewhat like my own. Additionally, over my time at AU, I developed friendships with people from a variety of ethnicities, countries, and cultures. Some shared with me about rich cultural traditions and foods that they loved, but some also shared about experiences they had with racist or otherwise biased interactions from various points in their life. And for once, I was beginning to understand why my mom cared so much about me going to a school with more people who were like me. I remember a story she had shared when she first moved to Indiana with my dad. She remembers simply walking down the street and seeing people give her sideways glances. This was even worse when people would see my parents together. As an interracial couple, their relationship was seen as almost wrong in a way. Even to this day, while things have changed, there's still often a sense that people should marry or date within their ethnic groups. Despite this reality, as someone who is fairly ethnically ambiguous, I am fortunate enough to not have experienced the same types of discrimination that my mom did. At the same time, I recognize that racism does still exist, and people still experience discrimination because of their ethnicity and the color of their skin. I understand why my mom felt so strongly about diversity, and I also realize how important it is, wherever I find myself, to continue to understand the differences of others as a means of creating unity. Now, when I think about unity, there is one particular experience that comes to mind. An amazing opportunity that AU gave me was the Tri-S trip to China last year. We spent 2 weeks in southern China with students from a Chinese university and also students from a Taiwanese high school. Some of you may or may not be familiar with tensions existing between China and Taiwan. Taiwan has sought total independence from China, while China still considers Taiwan as an important part of the country. This has led to division between the two that has lasted for roughly 70 years and still counting. Now, as a side note that is relevant to this story, in both China and Taiwan, karaoke is a very well-loved activity. So, one of the many days when we were singing karaoke together, there was a Chinese student who invited one of the Taiwanese students to sing a popular Chinese song with him. I remember them shaking hands afterward and watching in awe of the powerful moment I had just witnessed. While this was a moment between just two individuals, they had found a common ground outside of their political differences to sing together. This is what I hope to continue to see here in the United States, and also what I have seen AU strive to create. People like Josh Tandy, B. Martin, and many others have done the work to try to shift us into this mindset of unity, repeatedly reminding us to extend ourselves outside of our familiar circles, to learn about others, to have conversations with them. And these differences aren't just ethnic. We all have parts of ourselves that separate us from those we interact with, some separations being larger than others. But I have seen over my time at AU how the university has grown and improved in this area. If we look at the model of Christ, he spent time with those vastly different from him. He spent time with those hated by society, with those who believed the opposite of what he preached. Anderson University, as a Christian university, should and has been trying to work to emulate this example. We build relationships with those different from us, no matter what those differences are. Where some find enemies, we should find common ground and unity and community. And where some hatefully condemn, we should show love. Even where Christ corrected, he did so out of a place of love, not condemnation. Regardless of whether or not you believe Jesus to be your Savior, whether you believe him to be the Son of God, whatever your belief, that does not alter his teachings on unity, specifically when it comes to diversity. Whether those differences are related to gender, beliefs, standing in society, personal morality, he worked to bridge the divides between all people. Now, Anderson University isn't perfect at this, and I would argue that no institution can be. However, they have made an effort to understand the differences of others and to create a sense of unity. When I think about my time here at AU, some of my favorite experiences have been our MLK celebrations, the Peace and Justice March, the Mural Project just this year. It's amazing to see how this university has historically supported and stood by people of all races, ethnicities, and cultures, and how it continues to do so. To get to see people who marched that first Peace and Justice March in 1965 join us as we celebrated 60 years this year. To see our crowd of students marching through downtown Anderson with the flags of so many nations that have been represented at our university over the years. To see representations of men and women of all ethnicities displayed beautifully in the Haven, and to have had the chance to help bring that artwork to life. As I think about my time here at AU, here is the biggest lesson I've learned. No matter what stage of life you are in, or where you are headed next, whether you have 3 or 4 more years as a student here, or you're graduating in a couple of weeks, whether you've worked here on faculty or staff for almost a year or 20 plus years, your goal, scratch that, our goal, should be to create unity and understanding wherever we go. How are you being intentional to learn about the experiences of someone different than you? How are you seeking to create unity and community in your circles of influence? These are the questions I want to continually ask myself as I leave this place, and I hope you will too. Let us be the ones that welcome people and seek to understand them as people so that they don't feel alienated like my parents once did. Let us be like that Chinese student who took the active step to make a connection with someone politically divided from himself. If we want to see unity and understanding grow, that unity starts with us.